Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode on Deep Dive Mind HQ. I'm really glad you're here with us today, and I want to thank you for spending your time exploring this fascinating topic with me. If you've ever wondered why some people just click in conversations while others seem to miss the mark, then you're going to love this deep dive. Today, we're unpacking some of the most powerful ideas from Charles Duhigg's groundbreaking book Supercommunicators, How to Unlock the Secret Language of Connection. We're going to break it all down in a simple, engaging, and, most importantly, practical way. Whether you're tuning in from your morning commute or just chilling at home, by the end of this session, you'll have some powerful communication tools that can make every conversation you have more meaningful, impactful, and yes, even life-changing. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. The power of human connection, why it matters more than ever. Let's kick things off with a question. Who do you call when you've had a tough day? Maybe you flopped on a work presentation or had a fight with your partner. Who's that person who, when you talk to them, makes everything feel just a little bit better? Odds are, they aren't necessarily the funniest, smartest, or most entertaining person you know. But somehow, when you hang up the phone or walk away from the conversation, you feel heard, understood, and lighter. You feel connected. Now, here's the crazy thing. These people aren't born with some magical superpower. They've learned, sometimes without realizing it, how to tap into what Charles Duhigg calls the secret language of connection. And that's what we're going to explore today, how you can become one of those people. A supercommunicator. In a world where conversations often feel fractured, where misunderstandings are everywhere and people talk at each other instead of with each other, learning how to truly connect is more important than ever. What is a supercommunicator? At its core, a supercommunicator is someone who understands how conversations work, and how to navigate them in a way that creates trust, understanding, and genuine connection. But here's the kicker. Supercommunication isn't about talking more, being more persuasive, or always having the perfect comeback. It's about listening deeply, asking the right questions, and matching the conversation to what's really going on beneath the surface. In Duhigg's words, anyone can become a supercommunicator. It's not magic, it's a set of skills. And today, you'll learn exactly how to build those skills for yourself. The 3 types of conversations we all have, and why they matter. One of the most powerful ideas from the book is that every conversation is actually one of 3 conversations. Think about that for a second. You're never just talking about what's on the surface. Whether you're debating weekend plans with a friend or negotiating a multi-million-dollar deal, every conversation fits into one of these 3 categories. 1. What's this really about? Practical conversations. These are the logical, task-focused conversations. You're making plans, solving problems, or deciding who's doing what. 2. How do we feel? Emotional conversations. These go deeper. You're talking about feelings, yours or someone else's. These conversations are often where empathy and vulnerability shine. 3. Who are we? Social identity conversations. These conversations are about belonging, status, and identity. They touch on who we are and how we fit into a group, family, or society. Here's the tricky part. Most conversations bounce between these 3 types. And if you're in a practical conversation while the other person is having an emotional one, that's a recipe for disconnect. You'll talk past each other, and both of you will walk away feeling unheard. Real-life example. The mistake most of us make. Duhigg shares his own story. After graduating from Harvard Business School and becoming a successful journalist, he found himself struggling as a manager. One colleague told him, "I feel like my suggestions are being ignored." Duhigg's response: "Offer solutions. Maybe you should run the meetings," he said. But that's not what the colleague wanted. They weren't having a practical conversation. They were having an emotional one. When we mismatch the type of conversation, we miss opportunities for real connection. But once you understand how to spot the type of conversation you're in, everything changes. The matching principle, the secret sauce of supercommunication. So how do supercommunicators make it look so easy? They use what Duhigg calls the matching principle. Simply put, this means matching the conversation type and emotional tone of the person you're speaking with. If they're in emotional mode, you don't throw practical solutions at them, you match their feelings. If they're worried about how they'll be perceived socially, you focus on identity and belonging. It's not mimicry, it's alignment, and that's where deep trust begins. The science behind supercommunication. This isn't just common sense, it's neuroscience. Researchers have found that when we connect deeply with someone in conversation, something amazing happens. Our brains literally sync up. It's called neural entrainment. Our heart rates, breathing patterns, even our skin conductance can start to align. This is why, when you're really in sync with someone, you might finish each other's sentences or feel like you just click. But neural syncing doesn't happen automatically. You have to create the conditions for it by being present, listening actively, and matching the other person's mindset. How to become a supercommunicator. 4 practical rules. Ready for the how-to. Here are Duhigg's 4 rules for a meaningful conversation, the core practices that supercommunicators use again and again. 1. Understand what kind of conversation you're having. Always ask yourself, what's this really about? Are we solving a problem, sharing emotions, or defining identity? Once you know, match your approach. 2. Ask questions that draw out the other person's thoughts and feelings. Supercommunicators don't lecture, they ask, and then they listen. Questions like, how did that make you feel? Or, what's important about this to you? Go a long way. 3. Be vulnerable and share about yourself. People connect through mutual openness. If you want someone to open up to you, show them you're willing to do the same. 4. Prove you're listening. Reflect back what they've said. Show empathy. That sounds really hard, or, I hear you, can be game changers. Storytime. Felix Sigler, the ultimate supercommunicator. One of the most memorable stories in the book is about Felix Sigler, a legendary FBI negotiator. He once talked a man out of a room full of snakes, literally. What made Felix stand out wasn't just that he listened, it's how he made people feel listened to. He asked questions, shared his own stories, and built genuine trust. What's remarkable is that Felix didn't look or sound extraordinary. He was just a middle-aged dad with a mustache and a soft voice. But his ability to connect was next level, and it was all about applying these same principles. Why this matters today. Bridging the divide in a polarized world. We live in a time where people are shouting past each other, on social media, in politics, sometimes even in families. Becoming a supercommunicator isn't just about smoother meetings or better dinner conversations. It's about bridging divides, building trust, and creating understanding in a world that desperately needs it. Your turn. Try this exercise today. Here's something you can do right now. The next time you talk to someone, whether it's your partner, a friend, or a coworker, pause for just a second and ask yourself, what kind of conversation are we having? How can I match their tone and focus? Am I really listening, or am I waiting for my turn to talk? Practice this, and you'll be amazed at how quickly your connections deepen. Final thoughts and takeaways. Let's recap the key points. There are 3 types of conversations: practical, emotional, and social identity. Supercommunicators use the matching principle to align their conversations. Listening, asking good questions, and sharing your own experiences build trust. The science of connection shows us that syncing our communication can literally bring our minds and bodies into alignment. Anyone can become a supercommunicator with practice. Thank you and call to action. If you've made it this far, thank you. I really appreciate you joining me on this deep dive. If you found this valuable, I'd love it if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future content. We've got a lot more coming on how to master your mind, deepen your connections, and become your best self. And hey, what's been your experience with communication? Have you ever had a moment where you clicked with someone, or maybe a time where things just totally missed the mark? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching. Stay curious, stay connected, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. This is Deep Dive Mind HQ, signing off.